Group work. Some kids love it, some kids hate it. Teachers have a hell of a time trying to navigate it. So today I want to talk about why group work is so critically important, how you can navigate it easily. This will transform your group work experience and make classroom management a breeze when you're doing it. Let's get into it. Like literally everything else in my classroom, there has to be a strong why behind why we're doing group work, because everyone's going to ask,
why do we have to do this?
Can I just do it by myself?
Do I have to work with him? I don't like working with him.
No one else ever does any work when we do this.
So I want to make sure that I have a strong why behind why do we have to do this. And in short, we do group work because it's what the real world does. You can't do anything in this world. You have to work with someone. You're going to work with a brand. You're going to have a boss. You're going to have a team. As teachers, we have grade level teams. We have PLCs. We have department teams that we're a part of. Maybe you're on the special education team. There are all of these groups that we have to learn how to navigate that group dynamic, that it's not just us. If you play a sport, you're on a team. If you work retail, you are on a team because your department has a team. So these are real world skills. But the key to doing well in group work is for the teacher to navigate this with the students, and that's part of what we're going to get into. First, I'm going to tell you, how do we pick groups? Let's talk about that real quick. Now, I realize the way that I pick groups in my class might be vastly different than many of you, but I'd love if you would take a second, that if you are different, that if you're doing it differently than I'm doing it, could you leave a comment in the comment section below and tell us, how are you picking the groups or having students pick their groups? Because I think that those ideas just generate a bunch of other ideas for the other people that are watching this that might be kind of not so sure how to move this. In the first group project of the year, I let students pick their own groups. And I do this for a very specific reason. I want them to learn from their mistakes. Some kids are going to pick really good groups. They're going to have a really good group of friends already. They're going to think about what each person brings to the table, and that's great. Other kids pick people because they're cute, because they like them, because they think they're funny, because it's their friend, and hey man, we gotta work together. I try to give guidance and let kids know, like, is this a good idea? Like Aaron and Bryce, y'all working together. Is this the best thing we could come up with here, or is this gonna be a distraction? To which you usually get answers like,
No, Mr. Reynolds, no. We're gonna do it. We promise. It'll be great.
All right, then we let it roll. Because the thing is, once you pick a group, it is ride or die. Unless there's some incredible circumstance, like you got in a fight earlier in the day or something like that, you are not allowed to switch groups, because I want you to figure out how to navigate a difficult group. Teachers, you know that sometimes you get a co-teacher, you get a PLC, you get a grade level team member that is just like the freaking worst. But you don't get to just switch out and go to history department meetings. Even though you're in the math department, you got to figure out how to deal with that. And this is where the teacher becomes such a crucial part of this particular situation. Find that teachers usually kids are in a group and they're not getting along, they're not doing the work, they're at a standstill, and they don't help them move through it. They just tell them that they better get the work done, that they better finish up. And we have to realize that our kids don't always have the capacity. Not everyone grew up learning how to navigate social norms or relationship experiences. So my daughter was in a group recently, and there was that one kid that didn't do any work, and Marley and her other friend did the job, and the day of the project comes to pass, and the teacher gave them a poor grade because this one person didn't do the job. But Marley didn't feel confident enough to talk to this young woman. She didn't know if there's a girl said she was doing the job and then she wasn't doing the job. So it's like helping kids walk through and navigate some of that stuff is incredibly important. Teaching young people to have difficult discussions will set them up to be a better version of themselves when they're older. Because most adults don't even know how to have hard conversations, but that's a whole nother hard conversation to have. Actually, I made a video about that. I'll link in the description below. The other rule is there are no more than 3 students in a group ever, for any reason, no matter what. If you've ever seen this meme, it might be the truest meme about group work that ever existed. This meme says it all. I don't even have to say anything more about this. Every kid in the group also has a designated part. Each person has something that they are responsible for. So the group work isn't about us all working on a thing together. It's a bigger picture, and we're like the Avengers. Each person has an assignment they are bringing to the table that together is going to make it come alive. Now, I do want to talk about potential issues and how to navigate those, but one of the things I'm going to say real quick, this is a public service announcement on behalf of the children's. If you have a child that you have labeled good, do not put a child that you have labeled challenging with the child that is good in hopes that some of the goodness will run off and that student will be less challenging. All you're doing is putting your problems on the good kid and making this group work even more difficult. There are some occasions where you have a student with a really strong personality that does a really good job in class that you can put someone challenging with and they will be a positive influence on them. But just picking the quiet, the shy, the insecure, the introverted, or the awkward kid, putting someone that's challenging with them, all it does is just make things worse. Back to potential issues. Number of potential issues that are going to come up while students are doing group work. These are the ones that I heard about the most in our Facebook group. And so I'm going to address these. If there's something I'm not addressing, you can leave a comment or go to our Facebook group and leave your question there, which is going to get you a broader amount of answers. If you want me to answer it, just tag me in it and I'll be sure to answer it. First issue is, what if kids aren't doing their work? What if someone's not towing the line? The best way I found to deal with this is to create mile markers for students. So that you're not just handing in your project, but it is your pre-outline, your pre-rough draft. Your rough draft is handing in all these different things ahead of time. And maybe if they're not even handing them in, they have to come up to you and get you to check off on them or sign off on them so we can see that they're finished, so that the kids aren't even having the opportunity to get to the due date and have nothing done. We've been checking this off as we've been going. And I found that in doing this, it, 1, creates urgency, 2, makes tasks more doable. It takes this big project, breaks it down into little projects, and then that becomes far more doable to kids than this overwhelming thing that you just handed them. 3, it allows all students to be working. I do not want this student to have to do something because then the student can do something and then the student can do something. I need all people working at all times, and then we're bringing this together. So what that means is someone's not drawing a thing so someone else can color a thing so someone else can write about a thing. Instead, I think of it more as someone's writing the guitar part, someone's writing the bass part, someone's writing the drum part, and then we bring those things together. This also makes sure that you know that the students know what they're doing. The biggest mistake that teachers make when giving a project or any kind of group work is by handing over the assignment, explaining it one time, and then letting kids run with it. That would be like a football coach giving a play to his players, showing them on a whiteboard what it is, and then letting them go and do it. No, there's coaching at every aspect all the way through. It's the same reason that cookbooks are far less efficient than watching someone take a recipe and make it on YouTube, because they're walking you through each step of the way. That is going to ensure far greater success for your students. Now, a great way to sort of publicly check if kids are doing stuff is make a wall chart. Get one of those big Post-it note pieces of paper and just draw a chart on it. Let kids go up, and each time they finish a little section of their project, they're going to put a little sticker up there. That gives other students the chance to see where everybody else is, and it gives the students that are allowed to go up with the sticker a sense that you're moving along, that you're getting this done, that you have a quarter of it done and half of it done and 3/4, and we're almost there. I got 2 more things for you, and the last one is incredibly important and will change the game for group work forever. But first, one common mistake that teachers make. One of the ways I do group work that I had to learn over time because I kept screwing it up was I didn't realize that sometimes kids, you can go over and when you're checking in, you can tell them what they're supposed to be doing, but sometimes it works better if you're showing kids what they're supposed to be doing. So, and even if that includes doing a small part of the project for them. So giving them some sentence starters, drawing something out, giving them a sketch, helping them to start their outline, helping them as they're trying to color in a project. This isn't doing it for them. It's simply helping them in no different way than if you were pushing them on the back of a bicycle and then letting them go. Sometimes we become the motivator. We become the inspiration and take students from thinking that they can't do something or that they're struggling with something to see that it's not that bad. And I tell students all the time, all you have to do is this. And that can sometimes be the big difference in taking something that seems impossible and making it possible. Some of your students are visual learners, and that's what's going to really push them forward. And on that note, look, when kids start doing a good job, it's important to shout kids out, to shout out a group. Someone had a really great question. Yo, y'all listen up for 20 seconds. Tim's group had a really good question. I want to talk to you about it really quick. Yo, did y'all see what Aaron's doing? Can we just take a second and look at his picture up here? Because it is awesome. Or letting students know, listen, gang, I'm noticing that a couple of people are kind of going this route and you're making it harder than it needs to be. I want to share this misstep with you so that you make sure that you're not doing this as well. Not making too many announcements, but when I do make an announcement, making sure that everyone's quiet so that everyone understands what I'm talking about, making those announcements succinct and short and to the point, and then letting people get right back into it. Now, my last tip I learned from a friend of mine, and it changed the way that group work went in my classroom forever. Here it is. When students are finished an assignment and they hand in their group project, send them back to their seats, and the last thing they're going to do is get a piece of paper that they're going to write all 3 names of all the people that worked on the project in their group. And so, because I'm not particularly good at math, this is the equation that we're going to use. If you have 3 students, I'm going to give them each 90 points that they are going to divvy up amongst the 3 members of their group. So if Marley was in a really great group, and Marley, Addie, and Amy all did equal parts of the group, and Marley felt like they all deserved equal amounts of points, she's just going to give them each 30 points. But Brody noticed that in his group, he did most of the work. So although Brody worked with Trevin and George, Brody's going to give himself 50 points. Trevin did a pretty good job, so he might get 30 points, but they all know that George didn't do anything the whole time that they were working on this project, so then he only gets 10 points. I then take a look at those, and that affects a student's grade, because some kids don't pull their weight. Some kids didn't give it their all. Some kids did too much, and I average out those points. That is a portion of the student grade on that project. I then let this be a reminder to students that next time they work with someone, don't work with someone just because they're cute or you think they're funny or they're nice or they're your best friend. Work with someone because they got an A, because they're a hard worker, because they're creative, because they're getting after it. Because we're going to do a lot of group work this year, and it's, do you want it to be a struggle or do you want it to be awesome? Gang, if this video helped you at all, please consider sharing it with someone. You know someone in your school's new or struggling, or they can't even figure out group work. Just send it along to them. It would really help them out. And if you'd like and subscribe and do all the YouTube stuff under the video, I would really appreciate that too, because it helps the video get to more people. Thanks so much for giving me your time and for trying to be the best. We'll see you next time, gang. Peace.